Hello everyone and welcome all to the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023 Elites Finals Day. We have the time to decide on who will be the Baltic Trackmania League champion for this season. We're gonna be starting our playoff matches already in just a couple of minutes. So we have our top 8 decided from yesterday. And the 8 players today are Morioka, Karluki, Kuzi, Dvinho in one semifinal, and Ziren, Auris, Arvito, and Ieva in the other. We have 2 streams going on. I'll be covering one of the semifinals. If you want to see the other one, you can go on to Creedy's stream. So after the first 2 matches, then he'll be joining with me and we'll be duo casting the last 2 games. So in 10 minutes we will have the match starting and there will be also a pick and ban happening. So from now in playoffs, instead of having as it was in group stage where there was a random map order, now there's gonna be a pick and ban. Well, for early matches there's still gonna be a pick, so it will be possible to decide the map order on what will be played, so all 5 maps can still be potentially played. The matches today are going to be played in the good old Cup Classic game mode, but we're going to be playing till 100 points. Top 2 advance and bottom 2 will be sent to lowers. If you want to see how the bracket does look like, you can do ! brackets in the in-game chat and we will see. Hopefully the pick and bang does work and we'll be starting the matches today. So in the very let's see if it's... I'm very curious if it will be happening or not, because I'm very curious about it. If not, then we'll see. Alright, it's just starting. Whoops. One second, there's still gonna be small... Yep. Alright, gonna go to small setup. Again, there has been small technical issues, so we'll be still back soon. Alright, we are back. Now finally the pick and bans have been set up properly. Instead of previously, there was a small setting incident that was not properly selected in behind the scenes. Happens. Alright, so the map order that we have is Erythil was gonna be first picked by Morioka, then it's gonna be Surface Switch by Karluki, then we have Reunion, Bomber, and Lostic as the last map. So that's gonna be the map order that we're gonna be playing. In the meanwhile, the match is still gonna be starting, so that's gonna be the map order for now. So there is a small pick and ban based off the map order is decided based on how well did the players do in the group stages. So that's kind of decides the seeding for this pick and ban. So when the players will be coming from the upper to grand final, so from upper final to grand final, then in grand final, it will be possible for the winner of the upper bracket final to ban a map in the grand final, which is going to be the upper bracket advantage going into the final game, in the very finals. But for now, every single player just can pick a map based off their order, how they decided. Morioka is going to be picking Erythil. We're going to be playing till 100 points, 4 rounds a map, so instead of 3, now we're going to 100 points, a bit of more classic structure for the matches. Alright, let's go. So, very first match. So we have a very first semi-final, Morioka, Dvinho, Kuzi, Karluki. The top 2 will advance to the upper bracket final. The losers will going to be sent to the lower bracket semi-final. So the winners of this match will guarantee top 6 in the event, while the losers will have to go in the first lower match. We have 2 players who were the top 2 players from the last season, which was Kuzi and Dvinho. Both players got 1 and 2 in the last season. Morioka is the kind of as a newcomer for the for this year. Placed number 1 in the group stages, is the number 1 seed out of group stages. While Dvinho was seed number 8, and Kuzi was seed number 4, and Karluki was seed number 5. And Morioka will open the match with first 10 pointer, not the fastest times in the world, but it's still enough to take the 1 seed advantage and with the 10 points that he had. Now, the rest of the players did not have the best of the match. So Morioka was the only one that kind of tried to mimic a safe pace. Like again with the better starts. Currently falling behind. Dvinho as well, not having the best of starts. Vice champion of last season and the champion of the last season as well. Is currently in second place, a pretty noticeable gap. Morioka having a very solid pace. Karluki in third. Has definitely have one of the more biggest upsets that we have had this season. For the first time making his playoffs appearance. And also is at seed number 4, which is quite a bit of a surprise. Pretty big maps, as this is the very first match for all players today. And Morioka is going to be taking between with a 0.3, not too shabby of a time. Kuzi does take second, takes the +7 points. Karluki third, and Dvinho not having that great of a start, with only +3 points on his side. Who do you think will be the top 2 players advancing from this match? Would love to see in the chat. Want to see some small predictions from your end. Looks like a bit of better starts. All players are starting to get a bit more used to the warmed up. Looking a bit more inside. Doesn't have the best exit speed. Drops down to last position. Morioka at the moment in first. Out of nowhere still Morioka's side. Karluki, very nice exit jumps in the first place. All 4 players are very close between each other. Only the one Kuzi being a bit behind. Bit of a larger drift from Kuzi. There's a bit of space with more travel distance. Recorrected line from Dvinho. Clips the side as well, as Kuzi also had a small issue from the early on. As there's the fight between the 2 top seeds, as Morioka is gonna take another 10 points on his end. Definitely using his map pick to his advantage. And Karluki collects 7 points on his end and jumps into a solid second place after round 3. So instead of 3 rounds a map as we had in group stages, we're playing now with 4 rounds a map. So Morioka playing the Estonian anthem and gets a no slide with that. Tried to show off, but sadly did not work. Karluki as well with an early mistake. So we have the top 2 players from the last season in the top 2. Dvinho trying to get some points on the leaderboard as he's only stuck with 11. Small release from Dvinho. Not the best drift from Kuzi as well. Looks like this will be a great opportunity for Dvinho getting his first points, especially as Morioka is out of the round. And looks like Dvinho will get the 10 points. Kuzi with second, Morioka third, and Karluki with this early double mistake only get the +3 in the end. But Morioka is still in a convincing lead so far, but Dvinho is definitely the 10-pointer. He equals out all 3 Latvians within the match. Now we're gonna be going on Karluki's pick. Karluki's pick was surface switch. Karluki got the second pick, being 4th seed out of the group stages. Managed to qualify during the group stage in the 2-1 round, just behind Auris. After the first map, Morioka with 35 points, Karluki and Kuzi tied with 22, and Dvinho with 21. So 2 new players. We have 2 players that have never been in top 8 this year in a Baltic tournament. So both Karluki and Morioka are currently the ones as the best contenders actually so far. Morioka's worst placement ever in Baltic tournaments has been 3rd place in Baltic Trackmania Championship in the year 2020, when it was still held in Trackmania 2 Stadium. Ever since that tournament, he hasn't had a worser experience, so that's his low point so far in his Trackmania career in a sense. Dvinho with an outside touch. That's the worst place where you can potentially get a touch, because you have to keep all the exit speed there. Karluki forces the inside touches as well. So it's gonna be a 1v1 at the top, and looks like Kuzi will be the one getting the 10 points, denying Morioka the 10er. Also 0.4, not too shabby of a time as well on his end, as Morioka gets the +7. Dvinho gets the small advantage with the Karluki's late tap. She's kind of a bit snowballed now, him to 4th place. What an even start. Only one's the Kuzi and Karluki a bit behind, but still pretty close. He touches a bit of penalty grass, same with Karluki, bit of overcorrection from Karluki. Morioka and Dvinho still leading in the field, very similar lines. All players going for the outside, oversteer from Dvinho, doesn't get the best exit, but Karluki gets a very nice entry for the last part, gets a small wiggle, gets a bit more momentum than Kuzi. But the gas are pretty steady, oversteer from Karluki immediately. Same with Dvinho now, allows Kuzi now to catch up. Small bump from Morioka, doesn't get the best exit, but still managed to keep the lead and the 10 points from the round as well. So Morioka now starting to build up a bit of a convincing lead. However, keep in mind, this was Karluki's map pick. He hasn't been performing the best on his own pick. Is that an early touch again from Karluki? Definitely not having the best. His pick working out for him at all. Oh, Dvinho almost clipping the side, still managing to keep it in the race. Many people have hit the gutter. Morioka clips the inside, gets bounced from the outside. Even Karluki catches him. So now we have a full Latvia top 3. Morioka, the only Estonian representative in the top 8 in this season. Currently at the back of the field, but is it ahead of points? He's trying to wait for a mistake from any other players. No other players making an early touch so far. It's like a very solid fight between Dvinho and Kuzi. Dvinho gets a small bump from the inside, gets overtaken by Kuzi. Oversteers, nothing to. The same momentum is being kept, and Kuzi will secure the 10 points over Dvinho. And Carlucci at least managed to keep his third position above Morioka. That allows now Kuzi to close in on Morioka for the top 2. All players very equal at the start. No silly mistakes so far. We have seen a lot of people hit the side of the drain. Hasn't never really worked out, but we have, like in the group stages for some players, but this time around everyone keeps to get it. Bit of unfortunate line from Morioka, has to do a recorrection, doesn't get the best momentum out of that. And all the rest of the 3 Latvians are very close, trying to challenge him so far. Oh, touch from Dvinho, immediately drops at the back. There's a small oversteer part, and Morioka also touches in the momentum part, so both Morioka and Dvinho are now at back of the field. Kuzi now has a great opportunity to score the big pointers, the winner of last season. And Carlucci finally can get some points on his side as well. And now with that, since Morioka doesn't have the best round so far, Kuzi is now starting to build up a difference, and now there's only 1 point difference between him and Kuzi. Carlucci as well in the meanwhile, starting to catch up on Dvinho. Now we are going on Kuzi's pick. So Kuzi has picked Reunion. Despite being the ice player, did not choose the ice map. So Reunion is one of the more simplistic maps in the map pool. This map all depends on all smaller micro techniques and how precise, not really precision, but how efficient are you at taking every single turn. So we're gonna see a lot of close rounds. There's a lot of points where you really need to risk it to increase the time difference. Especially comes down to the end, as the start of the map is very simple, very straightforward, but the end is the place where you have to really full send if you want to be at the top. Not having the best of start. Dvinho tries to go for an alternative line, immediately clips the inside. And the 2 top seeds are now in the 1 and 2, while Kuzi chasing in his third. And he almost clips the inside, has a very good setup point. Morioka has a way more momentum outside of the drift, goes for the wider line to close out the skid mark closer for more speed, and it's gonna be still Carlucci taking the 10-pointer with the 42.85. Not too shabby of a time, with Morioka very being close second. And those are definitely points that Carlucci needs to bit close it in the total point standings, as he now overtakes Dvinho for 3rd place. Dvinho, the vice champion of last season, was looking as the most dominant player last time in the spring season, but lost to Kuzi in the grand finals with a crazy upset. Trying to now make some dents in this match. He was looking quite shaky this season, barely got into the playoffs as seed number 8 in the 2-2 Swiss round, as the last used up the last slot, just denying Insider. Very close top 3 with the Morioka from the back. Dvinho gets solid speed. Morioka also from behind. Oversteer from Kuzi. Touches the penalty sand, and the Morioka overtakes him even, while Dvinho secures the 10 points from the bottom. And with Carlucci as well. The overtake from Morioka will be definitely needed, at least for that minor points difference between first and second. Now the points are starting to equalize a bit, as Morioka is not having the best performance so far. Morioka is one of the players who has had the most amount of earnings in Trackmania without playing a single international event. During the year of 2022, Morioka got more than 1,000 in prize pool earnings from just local events. There's there is not a single player outside of Trackmania scene who has just gotten such a big amount in prize pool winnings just from playing local events, as he gets such a big advantage. Looks like gonna be Dvinho taking the 10-pointer with a very close round. Karluki, small oversteer at the end, cost him that 0.2 difference. Morioka still holds second, but a very solid performance from Dvinho despite this being the map pick from Kuzi. And definitely hasn't worked out for him, and actually Dvinho is the one who got him his stuff working. Maybe actually Kuzi picked this map early on so he can get Lustig for the time when the finalist comes. So maybe that could be the smart 5-hit play in the pick and ban. As Lustig is the final map, or the 5th map in the rotation. Last season's top 2 players currently in the top 2. Karluki very aggressive inside line, tries to catch up, very solid line there. Has to do a bit of a sharper drift from behind. Morioka trying to close in. Kuzi clips the inside, loses the lead. Karluki gets the 10-pointer. Morioka denies Dvinho the 2nd place, and Karluki scores the big pointer. Very unfortunate clip there from Kuzi. But very good situation from Karluki, as now both Dvinho and Kuzi are tied. Karluki has caught up with only 3 points difference from 2nd place, and Morioka is also not too far off. Now it's time for Bomer, which is the pick from Dvinho. This has been the map that Dvinho has decided from the pick and ban. We actually saw yesterday Ziren setting a top 3 world times on this and the other fast point map during the match. So Ziren, who is currently playing the other semifinal, set the fastest match time on any tournament where this map has been played, setting a low 0.1. Not the best start from Kuzi and Morioka, as each of the players have a clip on their sides. What was that? Well, that was just full clip on the side. Could not really steer from the magnet and just full bonk into the side. And now Dvinho has a very solid 10 points on his way. 4.4 lead, as every other player has a small mistake. Or Morioka is a bit pushing. As long as no silly mistakes, there should be free 10 points from Dvinho. And a +7 from Morioka. Never mind, Morioka clips. Where is Kuzi? Wow, Kuzi and Karluki is so far behind. Morioka even takes a safe finish, and it's still enough to take the +7 points. Yeah, a bit of a fiesta of a round. However, this really works out for Dvinho, as he gets the win, while everyone else had a mistake on their side. No slides early on. Zuka barely enough room to get enough steering to initiate the normal drift. Dvinho has now started to caught up to 2nd place from being the last in the leaderboards. Goes way too wide. Loses a tiny bit of lead, but gets a bit more momentum going for. Kuzi oversteers from the inside, doesn't get the best approach. There still is in a fight for the top 3. Not the best exit line though. Dvinho caught up with that. Small correction from Dvinho. Kuzi allows to catch up, while Karluki and Morioka are fighting for the 10 points. Morioka risking for the inside. It's gonna take the 10 points. Karluki in 2nd. Dvinho is gonna take the 3rd place with 5 points, and Kuzi is gonna be last with +3. And this now allows Morioka to be put in finalists, while rest of the players are still in the 80s. 2 players will go through from this match to the upper bracket final, which will put them in a top 6. Karluki getting a no slide early on. This is first attempt for Morioka now to secure himself in the top 6. As we have 2 slots left. Top 2 players move on to upper finals. Bottom 2 will be sent to lower semifinals. Dvinho trying to challenge Morioka, but Kuzi is also very close behind. Dvinho and Kuzi trying to get the big points to climb into the 90s. With as much as confidence as they can, so they just need way more comfortable experience as much as they can. For the next round, Kuzi needs a first place finish to jump into the 90s, but looks like Dvinho and Morioka are gonna be fighting, and it's gonna be Dvinho taking the win. Kuzi had to respawn, didn't get the big points, and even messed up the end. And Karluki is gonna secure the 5 points in the end, as Kuzi does not even get the finish. As we have 10 seconds finish timeout for the playoffs instead of 15. So it's way more strict in terms of pace. Karluki again messing up the very start. He can still snag the 3 points, or if there's an incident from rest of the players. Now Dvinho is just 1 round win away of putting himself in the finalist. The best he can do is now try to deny points from everyone else, as Morioka is out of this round. Kuzi now really needs to collect some points, especially as in the previous round he could not get anything. Morioka a bit behind with 0.8. Kuzi's bit dropping down the lead. Gap, oh, very good line. Dvinho had to do a small release. Dvinho becoming very close, tries to snipe the inside, bounces the side, gets even overtaken by Morioka. As Kuzi secures the 10 points and now jumps to 91. However, it's still good enough for Dvinho to jump into finalists, as we have 2 finalists now for the upper bracket final. In the meanwhile, Kuzi is at 91 points. So a round win away from entering finalists himself. Karluki needs to play the game a bit, as he's still stuck in the 80s. Meanwhile, Morioka and Dvinho are both round win away from entering in the upper bracket final, as we're going on the last map, Lostic. So this was the map left. Outside of the pick and bams. This map was also used in the seeding, where Kuzi actually won the seeding, with Dvinho being in 2nd. Morioka was 8th in this map, and Karluki was only 12th. So this is definitely not the best map in terms of for Karluki, but for Dvinho and Kuzi, it is one of their better maps proportionally to the rest of the players. Karluki, the bottom seed on this specific map, is still actually being at the top. Dvinho gets a solid inside line. Morioka is very close, gets a decent momentum. So all of top 3 is very close so far. Kuzi is the one behind. Despite being one of the better ice players in the world, is actually the one struggling in this round. And his preferred style is Dvinho at the moment leading. There's a 0.2 advantage over Karluki. Morioka is very close, oversteer from Karluki's side. Dvinho trying to get the inside, almost clips the inside wall, but Dvinho starting to build up the lead a bit, quite risking the outside. Dvinho taking the full inside, and Dvinho is actually gonna be winning this match. However, he almost got sniped by Morioka from the spinnen at the end. And Dvinho is gonna be winning the upper bracket semi-final and putting himself in the upper final, securing at least a top 6 placement so far. Morioka is in finalists. 1 more slot left. So Morioka with the best opportunity right now to go into the upper final, but clips on the inside. Karluki needs a top 2 finish. Same case with Kuzi to enter in finalists. So if the positions are kept as it is right now, we might see a triple finalist for the last slot. Very unfortunate situation there from Karluki, as Morioka now overtakes him. So Karluki needs a top 2 in this round to enter in finalist. That unfortunate mistake now will put the triple finalists out of contention for now. A bit of a confidence round now for Kuzi before going into finalists. Hopefully it does not mess up the very, very end. Should be fine. And it's gonna be 107.4 to build a bit of confidence for the finalist round. And sadly, Karluki is gonna be at 98 points. So if he hadn't had that mistake in the middle, he could have entered in the finalist. But now we have double finalists for just one slot in the upper bracket final. Kuzi and Morioka, both on finalists. Both of the players need a round win from their sides to secure themselves in the top 6. Meanwhile, Karluki needs to try to take both players down in this round to put himself into the finalists for another round. Morioka way too wide of approach. All players still pretty close. Karluki not having the best of exits. But he's still not too far off. Karluki gets a way better turn. Morioka is out. So this is a great opportunity now for Kuzi to finish this map off and put himself together with Vinho in the upper bracket final. Kurli does not touch, so was super close there. And looks like that will be it. Karluki gets a very aggressive inside, does not get the finish, but it'll be Kuzi closing it out. And will be the second place from this match, securing himself in the upper bracket final, as both Morioka, the only Estonian, let's just say the chance for Estonia in this Baltic Trackmania League season, will be sent to the lower bracket final, lower bracket semi-final together with Karluki. Let's check out the PC, still the other match going on. Would be awesome, we can see what's happening there, if it's still live or not. It's still going on. Let's do a bit of hacks. Alright. To access the play button, that is. Alright, let's see what happens in this now. Okay, we have both honorary players going through. So it's gonna be Ziren winning this match together with Auris, and Arvito and Iava will be sent to the lower bracket now. So in the upper bracket final we have Dvinho, Kuzi, Ziren and Auris, with Morioka, Karluki, Arvito and Iava in the lowers. If you want to see how does the bracket look like, exclamation mark bracket, and you can see how that does look like. So now we're going to be looking at the upper bracket final. It's going to be between Dvinho, Kuzi, Ziren and Auris. So those are going to be the selection for the next round. In the meanwhile, I'm going to go on a small break and we're going to prepare for the upper bracket final in approximately 2 or 3 minutes. Welcome back to the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023 season. And it is time for our upper bracket final between Dvinyo from Wombo, Kuzi, and two honorary players between Ziren and Auris. So this is going to be our upper bracket final match. And we'll have to see how this one will go, because this one has quite a bit of stakes to it. So first of all, the top two from this match not only goes to the grand final, but also will earn the invites to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania tournament that's going to be happening in October. So the top two from this match will qualify to the LAN event in October in Vilnius. And also the winner of this match will be I mean, he should... Oh, my goodness. Anyway. So basically, yeah, the winner of this match will also be give a chance to have a ban in the grand final. And there's also with the start with picks early on as well. Alright, so we have Erethel picked by Kuzi. So now Ziren picked Lostic. And Auris is going to be the final decider on between the Surface Switch or Bomber being played at the end. But yeah. Alright, still waiting on Auris' pick on whoever he decides, either Surface Switch or Bomber as the last one. And he did not, so he went for full random, I guess. So the first map is going to be played Reunion, second one is going to be Erethel, third is going to be Lostic, fourth is going to be Surface Switch, and fifth is going to be Bomber that will be played. This weird way, Auris did not select the map in his time. So that's why the map was picked randomly. Alright, so we have our upper bracket final between Dvinyo, Kuzi, Ziren, and Auris. So that's gonna be the top two will advance to the grand final and to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania tournament as well. The winner of this match will also be given a possibility to ban a map in the grand final as well. So quite a notable advantage with that. And the first map is gonna be Reunion, one of the more simplistic maps in the first part. You're confused how seeding works? So for round 1, the pick and ban is being decided on the bracket placements of the group stage. For second round, for the upper bracket final, there is an in-game setting that I personally have no idea how it works. Because you sadly can't assign the pick and bans for round 2 based off the bracket positions. There's an in-game setting how it decides. There's some in-game system how it decides. But sadly, I can't see how it works. But it basically, from what it looked like, that it used the semi-final 1 as the priority because that match had the top seeds, and because Dvinyo and Kuzi beats the person who is number 1 seeds, they got the pick and ban advantage because they caused the upset in the semi-final. So that's why they got the pick advantage. That's how that works. So that's why the game then prioritized. Then the game sees them as the #1 seed because they beat them, kind of thing. All right. Anyway, we're first round. Ziren takes the first 10 points. Vinho second. Auris third. Kuzi not having the best of starts. Vinho always had a shaky start, but seems to get a bit in the game. Yeah, that is a bit awkward, but that's the way how the in-game system works. Sadly, you can't change that, and it is what it is. Alright, a very close round so far. Now for players super tight. Looks like it was Ziren who got a pretty solid speed. It's gonna be the both Latvians getting the 1 and 2. With Vinho getting the 10 points, with Kuzi second, Ziren third, and Auris in third. Vinho is starting to definitely step up. The group stages were looking very, very shaky. He was only 8 seeds from the group stages. Kuzi taking an aggressive line, doesn't get the best momentum. Auris is the one leading, has an oversteer, almost clipped the inside, did not get a punishment from it. Looks like both Lithuanians are at the top. Shaky line, but it looks like it might be Kuzi taking the 10-pointer in the end. Very, very close rounds, denying the both Lithuanians the big points, and Vinho only gets +3 with that. And now with that, there's a 3-way tie in the top 3 already. So very close match so far. This map is very, very simplistic, especially at the very, very start. So the better hard parts, a bigger separator is the very end. You really want to full send the drift. And being ahead, small advantage from the very start. Looks like he maintains his lead. Kuzi is a bit behind. There's a really close fight. Vinho clips the inside, and now Lithuanians get a 1 and 2 with Ziren getting the 10-pointer. Auris second. Finally getting some points, managing to climb up from outside of the bottom positions, but no, Auris is still last. But at least still reduces the points gap to Vinho so far, and now we have Ziren leading, but the points difference is very, very tight. Alright, second map we have is Erethil. This one was picked by Kuzi. Ziren is the fastest player on this map. He managed to set a top 2 world time during a match and set the fastest match time as well yesterday. Heard a rumor that he did that in the first semi-final as well. Vinho not their best starts. Grips the inside of the ball, put himself at the back of the field. He relied from this start. Auris getting a solid turn there. Both honorary players are the 1 and 2 at the starts. Ziren almost touching the wall, still managed to keep his momentum throughout of it. It's both Lithuanians now fighting for the 10 points. Ziren is currently the match leader. And to get the most momentum out of it, Auris is getting close, trying to get out of the bottom position so far. Both of the players also really want to go to this event in October, which might qualify them, and Auris is gonna take the 10 points. Ziren had a way too much of a sideways jump, allowed Auris to get overtake him. Kuzi in the meanwhile gets the 5 points. And Vinho third, but now with that 1-2 allows both Ziren and Auris to jump in 1 and 2 positions in this match. Auris goes very outside, gets a lot of exit speed with that, so it looks like a bit of a different line there. Vinho a bit slower start, but looks like Ziran has even worse one as he gets another touch out of it. So the current points leader is out of the match, and Kuzi as well clips the inside. So now we have only 2 players without many major mistakes. Auris getting a relatively comfortable plus 10 points if he just plays this end very safe. Same case with Vinho. Vinho bit's actually risking a bit. And it's gonna be Auris securing the 10 points. Vinho in second. Kuzi's gonna get another 3rd place with plus 5, and Ziran only plus 3. And I believe this will now allow the top 2 players be way more squeezed together and creating a small separation now between the top 2 and the rest. There's a touch from the inside. It was Kuzi, unfortunate touch from the inside. Vinho as well, not the best start, so both Lithuanians are in the 1 and 2. Trying to make a revenge from the last season, where there was only 1 Lithuanian player in the top 4, which was Ziran, and with only 4th place finish as well. Ziran having a very solid start. Vinho and Auris fighting for that 2nd place. Bit of a sketchy line there from Ziran, still managed to stay in. It's gonna be quite close at the very end. Ziran still gets the straight across. 0.2, very solid time from Ziran. Auris also pretty close with the 0.5. And Ziran and Auris are starting to run off with the top 2. While Vinho and Kuzi are now tied both with 38 points. The Latvians definitely need to step up a bit. We saw that the Latvians did really good on Baltic, which is the ice map. Kuzi again, an inside touch 3 rounds in a row with a mistake. Yeah, that's something that's the way how you do not want to play, especially against the both honorary players. Both of them actually have very interesting skins. One is purple, one is white. Vinho trying to do something, wait for a mistake from the others, but it's not gonna happen. Ziran's gonna do another 0.2. Auris as well with a decent time with the 0.3. And the Lithuanians are just running away with it. Now we're gonna go on next match. I believe it will be Baltic. So this is a very good place now for both Latvians to gather quite a bit of points now. Also, since the the finish timeout is only 10 seconds, so if there's a pretty noticeable mistake, this is the best map where there's a potential for a DNF. Was he one of the best ice players? Will he get his strongest skill set used in this tournament? Because this is the best place to do so. Starting on Baltic, we have Ziran with 60 points, Auris with 65, Vinhov's 43, and Kuzi with 41. Very noticeable difference. Auris gets a nice sideways transition. Kuzi's the one a bit behind, not having the best match today. Not one leading, jumps in directly into the ice slide and transitioning himself into. Auris a bit behind, gets way more momentum than Ziran. Both Latvians are currently at 1 and 2. However, Auris has way more momentum than Vinho. A bit of oversteer from Auris, doesn't get the best momentum, also has a very sketchy gear. But Kuzi at the moment is leading, same with Vinho. Auris gets a pretty nice slow jump. Very weird line there from Kuzi, went full inside. Now Auris is starting to catch up to Vinho a bit. Kuzi quite promising lead. Auris starts to fight with Vinho, trying to get the overtake. Auris gets a very solid ice dirt slide and overtakes Vinho for the 2nd place. And Kuzi secures the first 10-pointer in a very good while in this match. Very much needed points as now he overtakes Dvinho for 3rd place and bit reduces now the gap between the Lithuanians. So we're playing till 100 points cup mode, 4 rounds a map, top 2 advance into the grand finals and also qualify themselves to the Comic-Con Baltic Trackmania tournament as well. Now the bottom 2 will be sent to the loser's bracket or lower bracket final. Now the Lithuanians currently 1 and 2, Ziren having definitely one of the better starts. He gets so much more momentum at the exit points. Both Latvians overtake Auris at the very end. Kuzi starting to close in on Ziren, a bit of oversteer on the dirt side. He still maintains a very close position between him and the leader. Bit of oversteer from Ziren. Allows Kuzi to catch up a bit, not the best dirt exit. Ziren gets a bit more momentum due to that. Kuzi still pretty solid position to get snag big points. A lot of very straightened out line. It's going to be very close and it's going to be Kuzi still securing the 10 points with us. 107.1. A decent time from Ziren as well, but still going to be Kuzi securing the big win in this round and starting to really now close the gap between him and Auris and also catching up to the leader as well. Dvinho clips the outside, not having the best performance. Was seeded number 2 yesterday before the group stages where the seeding took place on this map. Not having, despite it being one of his better maps, definitely not working out this time around. It's a bit of a weird approach. Has to oversteer as well. It's an awkward gear with that. Both Lithuanians are now in front. As both Auris and Ziren are trying to fight for 10 points. Very solid low jump from Kuzi, but hits the pipe. And both Latvians now are with a mistake each. Now it's a duel between Auris and Ziren for the 10 points. Sketchy line there from Ziren. Gets bounced out. Kuzi even overtakes him. Auris gonna secure the 10 points. But Ziren is completely out of it, and both Latvians will secure 2nd and 3rd in the round, with Ziren only getting +3. Kuzi is now only 5 points away from entering top 2. Still not too far off. Dvinho gets a good snap. Auris not having the best of starts. Point due behind the rest of the players. There's 2 different approaches. Both Latvians are trying to jump directly into the ice slide, while Lithuanians try to delay it a bit. Both strats seem to work out, but looks like the Latvian strat is a tiny bit better, but a bit more complicated. Kuzi gets a very good exit there, almost clips the inside, but still maintains the lead. It's way too much momentum, has to oversteer to recorrect the line. Ziren gets a way better bumpy parts, gets way lower jumps and gets way more momentum with that, but which allows now to reduce the gap between Kuzi. Ziren gets way more momentum, catches up to Kuzi, less than a 10, doesn't get the best ice slide. And at the very end, looks like it's gonna be Kuzi taking the 10 points. And Ziren in 2nd. So Kuzi definitely putting this map to good use. Still not in top 10 just yet, but has caught up to top 2 by quite noticeable differences. There's now only 5 points difference between Kuzi and the 1st place. So Lithuanians kind of survived this first map, as now we're going to be going on surface switch. We'll have to see how it will work out on this one. This is, I would say, one of the maps where all players are quite equal at. So we'll have to see how it will work in practice. So, coming out on surface switch, Auris is at 83 points, is actually now leading with that. Ziren had way too many mistakes. Kuzi in 3rd with 78, and Dvinho at the moment is in 4th with 59. So Auris and Ziren both are 2 round wins each from entering finalist. Lucy is in very close 3rd. There was a very noticeable gap early on, but from Lustig definitely caught up with a lot in terms of points. Ziren and Vinho almost hitting the gutter from the side. That's Ziren. Very solid exit. Has to overdrift a bit. Cancel out the momentum. Touch from Auris. The current points leader now drops out. No silly touches out before this sports. Except for Dvinho. Dvinho is out with that. Ziren is leading, but Kuzi has a way better line. Small oversteer, but Ziren still keeps the lead and gets the 10 points. And now Ziren is a top 2 finish, a round win away from entering finalists, while Kuzi has now caught up quite a bit and is only 1 point away from overtaking Auris. So the winner of this match will receive the advantage to ban one of the maps in the grand final, with addition to also pick the very first map, which will be played from the 4 map pool sets in the grand final. Additionally, top 2 players will be invited to the Comic-Con Baltics tournament. So a lot of stakes in this match, not just a place in the grand final. Solid outside line. Also solid entry here. All 4 players very close. Auris Kuzi gets the best momentum out of it. However, Dvinho and Ziren are really close by. Kuzi small oversteer with the bump in the center. Gets tossed to the side. Auris is gonna win. Dvinho second, and Ziren is gonna be way too much of a hard of a bump from the side, from which Kuzi will secure 3rd place. So no finalists just yet. However, now we have 3 players in contention of finalists. Kuzi needs a round win, Ziren needs a top 2, and Auris needs a top 3. So there's a good chance. There is actually a chance we can see a triple finalist right after this round. And in the meanwhile, Dvinho needs to play a bit as he's down with 71 points. All 4 players closely packed. Auris a bit too much recorrected drift. Oh, very risky lines there from Dvinho, and Ziren almost touches the outside. All 4 players keeps the momentum. Kuzi way too much inside, doesn't get the best momentum. However, doesn't get the transition bump from the center. Attacks very harshly from the inside. Very straightforward positions, and it's gonna be still being kept as Dvinho still barely holds on 2nd place, but Ziren takes the 10 points. Dvinho in 2nd, Auris in 3rd, and Kuzi sadly only gets +3, and now we have both Lithuanians with that. Now in finalist already. Kuzi is a top 2 finish away, but of course the best case would be if he does deny. If any of the finalists do win the round right now, they will qualify themselves not only to the grand final, with the ability to ban a map from the map pool, and also will get a place in Comic-Con Baltics in October. Especially Lithuanians really want to be there, so for Lithuanians it's way more motivating to take this win here. Very close round between the 3 players. Dvinho is also not too far off, and it's gonna be Auris who's gonna be first to drop. Kuzi touches the inside, and this now creates a very great opportunity for Ziren to close out the upper bracket finals, be the very first person to also qualify to Comic-Con Baltic Trackmania tournament, and will also receive the ban advantage in the grand final. So one of the favorites of the tournament closes it out, and Ziren is first person to be put in the top 4. We have 1 more slot left from this match in the grand final. The second place will be given the ability to have the second pick in the grand final and also be qualified to the Comic-Con Baltics tournament, while the rest of the players will be sent to the lower bracket for a second chance. Auris is still on finalist. Kuzi at 96 points. And Vinho is at 85. Kuzi needs a top 3 finish, so basically if he's done with this round it will be fine, and the current finalist gets the no slide early on, so it's a Latvian 1v1 in this round. Either Kuzi tries to deny points from Dvinho to slow down the process of him being a contender for the finalist spot in the next round, and try to just get to 10 points, or Dvinho trying to fight back and make it a tiny bit more annoying for Kuzi in the next upcoming rounds. Zauris is out of this one, can't even do anything against the 2 wrist players. Dvinho gets a solid inside line. It's a very close 1v1 so far. Kuzi with a minor advantage at the very end, and Kuzi will be not securing the 10 points. Dvinho gets the snipe in that due to that Kuzi small bump. Kuzi still does enter finalist, but due to that win now, Dvinho just needs to get a finish to enter finalist now. If he had overtaken, then let us say the process for Dvinho to enter finalist in the next round will be way more challenging. We have 2 finalists, 1 slot for the grand final. Auris having the best starts, trying to join his teammate and compatriot in the grand final. Also secured his participation in Comic-Con Baltics as well. Not the best line from Kuzi. Massive bounce is out of this one, so it's all on Dvinho to deny now. Oh, this doesn't get the best line, lose a bit of momentum, gives a better chance for Dvinho. Dvinho full risks inside, gets way too much micro airtime from the center. Auris oversteers. Dvinho can get a better setup. Dvinho full risks, doesn't pay off, and it's gonna be Auris securing the 10 points and the qualification and the win, both to the grand final and to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania tournament as well. So we have 2 Lithuanians already in the grand final, both honorary players. Ziren with the top seed and Auris with the second one. And we will also be not only seeing them in the grand final, but these are the first 2 players that we know in the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania tournament as well. Meanwhile, in the lower brackets, we have Arvito and Morioka moving on, while Karluki and Ieva are eliminated from the tournament. Arvito was the person who managed to get a win above of Morioka. Karluki was 3rd and Ieva 4th. So with that, Karluki and Ieva secure 7th and 8th place each, which is it's the highest position for both of the players. In their, let's just say for Ieva, it's definitely one of her highest position during the last 2 years of Ieva's career. So now it's time for our lower bracket final. We have Kuzi, Dvinho, Arvito, and Morioka. So that will be our lower bracket final. 2 slots left in the grand final. So we have the 3 Latvians and an Estonian. We're going to be duking it out for the last 2 slots. In the meanwhile, we're going to go on a small break. And Creedy will be joining me for a small duo cast for the last 2 matches. So in just a couple of minutes, I'll be starting the lower bracket final. So see you in just 2 or 3 minutes. Alright, welcome back to the not Comic Con Baltics, we're not there just yet.
Premature on that one.
Okay, jump to the future a bit. Okay, welcome back to the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023 Elite. And it is time for a lower bracket final. So we have Morioka, Arvito, the two players who managed to come from the lower bracket semi-final, and Kuzi and Dvinho, who came from the upper bracket. We're gonna be starting our pick and bans. We also have Creedy joining with me for now.
Hello everybody, good to be here as well. If you were able to catch a few matches on my stream, and now we're all here as the pick and ban went by quick. Böhme, Erathel, Lostic, Surface Witch, and Reunion again, the last map. Every single match I've seen, Reunion has been left as last so far.
Alright, so we'll have to see how this one will go.
I think it's gonna be a tough one though.
Yeah, so the top two players from this match will go to the grand final and also go to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania tournament in October. So last chance to put themselves in the grand final. Since we have 3 Latvians in the lower bracket final for now, it basically guarantees at least 1 Latvian player in the grand final. But we'll see if Morioka can make it so that we have a full Baltic final, which would be the best case scenario in my opinion. I believe we haven't had a non-fully Baltic final since...
I don't remember actually. Has there been anyone?
Okay, the last one where there wasn't a full Baltic final was the winter 2022. Because then the final had Sander, Morioka, Bits and Auris.
Yeah, I remember that one. God, that's already spare moment, that ending, which could have been Morioka's as well, but it only matters here at the moment. And I'm gonna be honest, what we saw from the lower bracket semis by Morioka, it's absolutely in the gut. Lostic was an absolute despair. It is the 3rd map upcoming, so maybe, you know, there's 2 other maps after it could be going on the way, but without further ado, the lower bracket finals is underway with Dvinho, Kuzi, Arvito going up against also with Morioka, and we see that everybody at least starts off well on Böhme. No slides. That tends to happen quite a bit, but I've seen a few already. But Kuzi a bit too inside there. And Dvinho also hopping across, so it's only the 2 people, and Arvito absolutely not having a good start as well, so Morioka is taking the lead for now.
Yeah, very shaky start from everyone except Morioka. Actually, in the very start, we might see a bunch of no slides because there's barely enough room to clip, and Morioka clips. What a fiesta to round to start off, and Arvito now. That's a very great setup for oh.
All of the let's just spin it. It's the first round. I always say this first round. It is a glorified warm-up, so everything is taken it with a pinch of salt. But so it begins, because this is actually pretty big pressure. It's either you're out or in the grand final. So yeah, it's a tough call for all. But you know, for now, everybody needs to get into it. I feel like it's a bit too early still to call anything.
Yeah, Arvito taking the first opener, starts off the match strong with the very first round win. Was the only player who did not have a major mistake during the round, so gets actually Arvito, one of the players who was quite surprised about, who has a very solid performance. Last season he was one of the surprises and who did make the playoffs. This time around he even went to the 2-0 Swiss match, however he had to go to the 2-2 Swiss match in the end to qualify to playoffs, but he still made it. I'm not too sure. Also he did won the lower match ahead of Morioka, so definitely might be seeing what he can do against Kuzi and Dvinho.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close end here, no major mistakes. Kuzi and Dvinho are airing the end here with Arvito and Morioka doing the front, and both get it really nicely, so it depends who's willing to risk the end here, who's gonna take it a bit tighter than the other. And Arvito just by 5,000ths of a second taking over. There's just such a fine margin in the end. But good enough for Vito to take 2 wins in a row. And Morioka 2 second places. Dvinho and Kuzi taking a bit of a seeding position at the moment, gauging the opponents for now. Kuzi probably waiting for Lostic to gather 40 easy points, as the rest are trying to fight for the other points. But good showing so far. apart from the first round.
Arvito as well, performing pretty good. 2 very strong starts so far. Maybe not so much in this round, so both top 2 players from the last season currently leading in the round. As Kuzi, very weird bump, small touch from the inside, puts him out of this round, immediately sets him to the last position. Morioka very aggressive inside line, very risky approach there, enables him to catch up to Dvinho. Dvinho with a small airtime, loses a bit of pace. Even Arvito catches in, oversteer from Dvinho, reduces a bit of spacing as well. However, next shift was way better from Dvinho's side, very risky jump there from Dvinho and Arvito, but Morioka still gets the 10 points. Very risky approach there at the very end from Arvito, went very, very tight in a hope to snag some inside line approaches, but it did not really work out as he still takes the 3rd place in a round. However, he's still leading in terms of total points.
Yeah, it is very good to see at the moment that I feel like if anything, Arvito is definitely, you can see that he has put in the time, opposed to me, for example, that and it has made quite a good difference for him as well. So good to see that Arvito at least is shaping up to be a very prominent driver for the Baltic scene as well, putting a fight at the moment, and as you said, in the lead by 1 point, but everything is still not an open case matter at the moment, as currently, if you're looking at Morioka's perspective, it's all red with the Latvian flag, so it is good to see that it's a good fight up in front, but that ending can lead to so many different outcomes. Who's willing to push more? Everybody gets it, but who gets the end here in the line? Oh, what a round! All of you get it, but Gusi overtakes Arvito by 8 thousandths of a second in the end. Dvinho is 3rd, and Morioka will have to succumb for the final pace for now.
Yeah, I believe, wasn't, except for the very first round, I feel like for the 2nd to 4th round, there was like a less than 100th of a difference on between 1st and 2nd, I felt like every single time.
I mean, Böhmer to me, if I had to choose a map, the best map out of the pack, Böhmer to me is the best one. It feels the best flow, the best overall map. Now we go on to Erathel, which in my opinion is the worst map in the pool, because I dislike it so much, because it's just I just couldn't figure out the outside stuff here. It just didn't feel comfortable for me whatsoever in the tournament. But for these players, it should be an easy walk in the park, to be honest.
Alright, first round on Erathel. We'll see how it goes. Very lovely to see Arvito currently leading after first map, as the first map was Dvinho's pick. Now we go on Kuzi's pick. Probably all players trying to just get rid of the maps that they're not as good on early on. Just when it, let's say, the culmination of the match happens to end off on their preferred maps. Currently, Arvito, despite not having on his first pick, still having a very solid performance all around, despite the favorite Morioka. In a lot of predictions and everything like that, was one of the favorites to even win the whole thing, but is struggling quite a bit. And looks like Kuzi and Arvito fighting for the 10 points. Gonna be super close, but Arvito will be the one to snag that up the pipe with the 10 points. Kuzi in 2nd, Dvinho in 3rd, and the Estonians at the bottom.
It's looking like Arvito is the one actually taking the lead here. He has 12 points ahead of everybody else. Morioka is 2nd, so Arvito at the moment smoking the you would say the veterans, as Morioka does touch the inside, so he's completely out of it. So definitely putting everybody else up to the pedestal and pushing everybody as Dvinho into the wall, and leaves us with 2 competitors, Kuzi and Arvito. Kuzi has a very safe line, but I mean, at the moment with that lead he has, it's gonna be more than enough. Whether he's able to hold out in front is gonna be a different story. Well, better line by Rito. He will have more speed, but it's really not accumulating too much at the moment. Unless Kuzi has a brain fart in the end or misses the finish, I feel like this is gonna be an easy 10 points for him. Arvito looking to go straight there, and that is indeed the case. Morioka 3rd, Dvinho will go into the safe finish to even out.
Yeah, not the fastest time, only 50.7, but it was enough to get the job done. I'm actually very impressed by the way how Arvito is playing, considering that he was like a low mid-tier in considered as a low mid-tier in spring season to climbing up and kind of proving everyone wrong, snatching the playoff slot. Now, this season, went even to a 2-0 Swiss match, now even contending potentially the grand finals already, and definitely starting to make himself name for himself in the local scene as one of the top contenders, and it would be very crazy to see if he does really well, as this might not be a round where he does that well. As with the aggressive bomb from the inside, flings outside, as now Morioka tries to challenge the 10 points, with Vinho trying to stop him. Kuzi very close, only 2.2 behind. Morioka trying to get a better approach. Kuzi gets it more inside line. Tries to attack, but doesn't get the best momentum out of it. Well, Vinho does do so it might be a very close fight at the end. Morioka at the one still leading. It's gonna be close, but it's not gonna position. It's not gonna change that much. And Morioka is gonna secure the 10 points. Vinho in second with +7. Kuzi third with +5. And Arvito, despite the mistake, will still get the finish in. And at least will still hold on to the lead, but the gap is now starting to be reduced.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Arvito forgets the start of the map for a moment. I don't know if he was prepared to go for one more round. Completely out of focus there, and kind of out of it for this round. So moving on to the top end at the moment. So yeah, little bro forgot that there is one more round. But Vinho, Kuzi and Morioka are the ones fighting for this, everything considered. It's hard to see, but Vinho is the one at the moment at the bottom end. Not the one that I was really expecting to be there, but you know, Arvito has aged well, or like fine wine. First match didn't start off well, then the semi-final really good, and now even better, but everybody else is now going to take advantage of 2 mistakes in a row, as Morioka is taking advantage of taking another win on the board. What a great end by everybody involved. 0.3s and a 0.4, and you still are third if you look at Kuzi's perspective.
Yeah, very solid round from everyone. But it's going to be Morioka taking the advantage. Now equalize points with Arvito now. And I believe we might now go to Lustig, I believe.
Yes,
and
time for Kuzi to crack some points in.
And what I'm curious now about is how Morioka will do, because he has managed to caught up in a tied top 2 for now. But will he hold on? Because I feel like this is not so much about trying to score as many points, but just trying to hold on as much as he can. This in Morioka's case. At the same time, for Latvians, this might be the place where they can attack the most. Because all 3 Latvians are players who can do a 106 time on this map, while the rest are not that close to that kind of pace.
Yeah, but for those who don't know, Lustig, why we have a bit of despair for this map as well. It is a nice map. It is actually a well-built map. The problem is it is a pre-patch ice map. So some of these turns now are, in my opinion, a lot faster than they're supposed to be, leading to some moments of, well, let's just say, not intended ways of doing the track, to put it mildly. But currently at least, and Morioka was one of them, and it slightly is continuing the despair for him as well. But so far, it is somewhat close. It is a respectable round for everybody. Morioka didn't catch the ice wheels there at the turn point, but I mean, looking good for everybody involved. Vinho is taking the lead with Kuzi in second, and well, if it will end up like that, it's a different story. So yeah, hard to say.
Arvito closing in, starts to challenge Kuzi for the second place. Morioka has caught up as well despite the slide out. He's gonna be very close to the center. Vinho still gonna secure the win. Kuzi's gonna be second, Arvito third. And Morioka, despite having that small slide out in the middle side of the maps, was very, very close on starting to challenge. But now Vinho and Kuzi, the bottom 2 players, now rack up the big points. Vinho does get a +10 pointer, but starts to close in a bit. But at least, despite reducing the gap, is still in the last place. So we'll have to see how it works out on this round. At the moment, Arvito is in a small lead, despite not having the top 2 in the round. Morioka tries to hold on as much as he can. Very weird line there from Vinho. Tries to at least go through. Arvito not having the best of starts so far. Kuzi and Vinho, the 2 better players on this map, were the 1 and 2 seeds in the seeding phase before the group stages of it that was done on this map. Trying to also have a very prominent start. Kuzi also one of the best ice players in the game as well. Definitely showing like he's decent at the start. He's too much snow a bit. Arvito's small slide out, bit unfortunate, always even clips the side. Morioka meanwhile struggling a bit at the back, can't really keep up with the Latvian. So far Arvito doesn't make the jump, has to get the respawn. Dvinho goes over very risky over the clip side, doesn't even get the clip, was very risky on almost even got the slowdown from that. But still is in. Kuzi tries to challenge, has a way better setup for the very end. Dvinho is super close, trying to attacking from the inside. Kuzi gets a very nice snap from the middle and is gonna take the 10 points. Morioka, while playing the Estonian anthem, gets into third place as Arvito had a very unfortunate mistake that puts him with only 3 points on the standings and now drops him to a tied second and third position as now Kuzi overtakes for first.
I mean, we will take it. Like, if you are an Estonian fan, that is more points in those 2 rounds that Morioka was able to gather in 4 rounds in the previous match he played in the lower semis. That just says how much mud there is for Morioka in this match. So he's already doing better in 2 rounds than he did in the 4 in the last one. So looking up for him. I don't know. The one thing I don't know is, like, I like how people have a different approach to the slide. Some people jump into the slide, but I feel like it's just so much better and much more comfortable. You go straight first and then you set up the slide. I know Arvito likes to jump into it, but I guess that's a bit of a comfort for him. But Morioka is comfortably hitting the ball into the hole and the mud continues. Dvinho and Kuzi fighting for the top positions again, so it's basically a proving ground. Dvinho and Kuzi are playing the long game. They didn't get much points in the first 2 maps. Third map will just rack up everything and we're back in business. And that's exactly what they're doing. And Kuzi is going for that inside line. It's so much better. You want to snap to the inside of the checkpoint, and in a 7 flat and a 7-1. And Dvinho is still second with everything considered. Morioka, well, gets points at least on the board. We'll take it.
Yeah, very decent times as well from both Dvinho and Kuzi. And now with that, the match has definitely caught up, and Kuzi has definitely used this match to his map to his advantages now. He is starting, instead of just catching to first place, he's now even starting to stack up a lead on top of that. Dvinho as well, despite being so far behind, now has caught up to both Arvito and Morioka, with only 2 points difference between second and third. So the last round now on Lustig, we'll see on if the... Oh, it's gonna be Dvinho having an unfortunate bump early on, will be set to the bottom. Will Kuzi continue extending the lead, or will Arvito start to catch up and trying to challenge? Morioka is also now very close, despite having this being his worst map so far in the pool. He's still trying to challenge for the top positions, as we only have 2 players going to the grand finals from this match. The 2 players also be qualified to the Comic-Con Baltics in October as well. Arvito having the best setup for the end. Morioka trying to risk for the outside line, has way more momentum. Kuzi tries to enter from the inside. Aggressive line from Morioka. It all comes down to the end. Kuzi doesn't get the end that well, and it's gonna be Arvito snagging the 10 points, with Morioka finally getting a top 2 finish on this map with a +7. And the 2 players who were quite dominant on this map will be only scoring 5 and 3 points each.
Yeah, but that was the reason why I don't want to go into that slide. Dvinho really showed it on Lustig. If you go for that slide, you are really risking going into that checkpoint. I really don't think it's the better line, because it's still equal in the end, because that turn is mud anyway, but it doesn't matter. Dvinho is on 69 points, which is always a nice case in point, but going over the scores, of course, with the Kuzi having the Lustig buff, he's now in first position. Pretty much he was last alongside Dvinho, now he's first. Arvito is second on 78 and Morioka is third. So now it's gonna come down to more technical maps. I don't know who it will favor more. Definitely Dvinho and Arvito were looking good as I've seen it, and Morioka as well. I don't know how Kuzi feels about this match. I haven't really seen Kuzi drive on this. I know that at the moment Kuzi is in the mud with that first checkpoint touch, so maybe that speaks volumes for his his thoughts on the matter. But everybody else does get it clean. Arvito is the one to set the pace for now. Whether Morioka or Dvinho is able to do... but that's penalty grass. That is something you really want to avoid there. It loses so much time. He's already lost like 2 tenths just because of a bit of a clip on the penalty grass. Morioka holds the lead. Dvinho and Arvito trying to go for the outside, more speed. Will it make a difference at the moment? So far not, but this is the part where you can get a lot of speed going into this final section. Morioka is really swinging it across there, and it's looking to be rather good, but Twinio is also overtaking Arvito and also takes the second position with Kuzi in fourth.
Well, now it's gonna be definitely a points tosser right now. Morioka finally gets his points after the full despair, as we have 3 players tied in terms of points. We are 17 points away from the finalists, as we're gonna decide the 2 slots afterwards. So we have 3 players in a very close contention as we're in the mid-end of the game. Very close start from all 4 players. Uzi was the one who was a bit struggling on this one, but so far Dvinho with the slowest start. Uzi actually now leading a bit. Morioka's minor touch from the penalty grass, recorrection from the center. Dvinho gets the most amount of momentum from the center line. Tries to go for too much inside, it doesn't get the best exit speed out of it. Now 4 players trying to risk for the outside line. We have seen many touches here, will that happen? No. Morioka was super close though from the inside line. Small bumps from all 3 players except Kuzi. Kuzi risks too much and hits the outside, loses the 10 points while there's a close 3-way fight for the 10 pointers. And it's gonna be Morioka securing the 10 pointer just above Arvito, who gets the +7. And Dvinho very, very close and gets the 5 points on the side. And now with that, Morioka is a top 2 place away from entering finalist and securing a grand final slot.
That is a possibility indeed, but I mean, there's still good outcomes. I mean, Arvito's first, Morioka second, we shake hands, double finalist mode, and it is Kuzi and Dvinho to do the rest, I guess. So it is definitely a hard choice to make, but given that the next map is going to be Reunion as well, it's gonna be a rough map to go into, so you really want to at least secure finalist mode right here, right now, because at least you have a chance on Reunion. Surface switch at the moment, looking to be a good round for everybody. Dvinho and Kuzi maybe not as much, as Arvito and Morioka have been the ones up in front. And at the moment, as things are, Morioka is looking to take that first position. Arvito is close by it, but that is a very wide line, allowing Kuzi and Dvinho to get really close. And with that, everything is lost in the end by Arvito, allowing his fellow countrymates to come around and take those front row seats, with Morioka in the lead and being the first finalist going to the next round.
And what was crazy, it just showed how one way too big of an oversteer can cost you so many points in a total match, as he just, that small oversteer at the very end lost him 2 positions, and a very good contention for finalist already for Arvito. Now Arvito needs still the top 2 finish in this round at least, while at least trying to deny Morioka. At the same time, Morioka, the only Estonian in the top 8, trying to have some Estonian representation in the final and the rest of the tournament, while in the meanwhile Dvinho is still trying to be the one to collect the most points, as he's the only player who is still not in the 90s, so he's the one who needs the most points. Morioka trying to deny, at least if he can't deny the first place, he can still deny the points from second and from Arvito and Kuzi. Arvito trying to force the inside line. Morioka is pushing very close on the inside. Gets a solid approach, small bump from Dvinho. The gap is shrinking, but it's not enough, and Dvinho does deny Morioka his first, the finalist opportunity here. And now Dvinho jumps into the 90s, and at the same time, that victory allowed to deny both Arvito and Kuzi a slot for the finalist opportunity.
Yeah, but now there is a possibility that after the first round of Reunion, we could have a quadruple finalist. If Morioka doesn't get first place, Dvinho and Kuzi are second and third, and Arvito is last, we will go on to Reunion into a quadruple finalist. I don't know why they are allowing Reunion to be the decider. It's the worst map to be a deciding map. It's the closest map. It's the most where the mistakes cost you the most, but they're still letting it through. It's up to them, but I'm not the guy driving, it's them. And this is the first opportunity on Reunion for Morioka to take the position, but there are 3 hungry Latvians trying to get that finalist position as well and secure a grand final position. And it already comes down to this corner, and we can already see everybody sort of close by. Ryoka does hold on to a lead for now, but that exit speed can be wondrous. Ryoka goes wide, goes inside, Kuzi, Twinyo, very close by. Now this final drift is where it matters. Morioka goes wide, that is not the best line for the end, but with a clean drift out of the absolute despair. Get your Estonian flags out! We got him in the final, let's go! Bias, screw that, I'm all for it. Pipo Estonia.
Well, congrats to Morioka. Now he also not only secures himself into the grand final, but also in the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania tournament in October, as well as we have only one slot left.
Yep.
One round win away. One Latvian will be representing Latvia in the grand final. We have Dvinho, Arvito, and Kuzi. Kuzi and Dvinho, the top two players from the last Baltic Trackmania League season. Arvito, the newcomer, trying to prevent it happening, trying to make a name for himself this time around. It all comes down on this round. Couple of turns left. Kuzi is out. It's all on Dvinho and Arvito.
Dvinho is out!
Dvinho is
doing it!
Arvito is doing it! No clip at the end, and Arvito will be the one taking his first top 4 in the Baltic Trackmania League, sending both Kuzi and Dvinho out of the top 4, and while making one of the craziest runs in the Baltic Trackmania League, while definitely making a name for himself with this. Honestly, I am in shock.
I cannot believe it. Out of all of the players, there is one player that probably nobody expected to be in the grand final, and it is Arvito. Morioka, Siren, and even Auris kind of expected grand final position is you had maybe Twinyo and Kuzi to be there as well, but Arvito having the tournament of his life, and he secures, as you said, Comic-Con Baltics is secured for him as well, so you know that is also something. Yeah, I don't know if he has the plans or the possibilities to go, but I hope he has. But maybe community can come to help at some point as well, or somehow.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Hard to know.
Yeah, that's still in the future. We now will go on a small break, and it's time for the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023 Elite Grand Final. We have 2 Lithuanians from representing Honori, Ziren and Auris, coming from the upper brackets, and we have the only Estonian representative in the entirety of the playoffs, Morioka. His worst position ever has been a 3rd place finish in Baltic Trackmania Championship in 2020. Will this be his worst performance, or will this be his best? And additionally, we have the only Latvian representative, Arvito, having a crazy run from the group stages into the playoff. He came from the lower brackets, got across Karluki, Ieva, Dvinho and Kuzi, who were the top 2 players from the last season, went on top of them and now represents Latvia in the grand final. And with that, we're gonna go on a small break, approximately 2 or 3 minutes, and it's time for the grand final. Welcome all to the final time to the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023. It is time for our grand finals between Ziren from Honori, Lithuania, Morioka, Vortex, Estonia, Arvito, Baltic Vikings, Latvia, Auris, Honori, Lithuania. It is time for our grand final. We have the first upper advantage coming from Ziren, who bans Reunion as the map of his choice. Everyone is expecting, and he picks Lustig as the first one. So we're gonna be playing till 120 points. We're playing till all three winners are decided. So Reunion is not gonna be the map that's gonna be banned in this final. Now Auris is trying to pick the map. Yes?
Siren also left the server as well after dropping that. I don't know where he went. Oh, he's back. People are thinking like, Lustig first pick. Why? People, you need to understand. Siren is there to make sure Morioka has the worst time of his life. We only have 4 maps with 120 points, correct, SRK?
Yes.
That means Lustig will for certain be played again. And given how much mud Morioka was on, it's basically 3 points for everybody else. So this is a very smart move by Auris. I don't know what he's doing. Is he picking?
He did not
Auris
pick.
didn't pick.
I mean, that's on his fault, because it won't be restarted.
Well, surface switch, I guess. Morioka is now picking. So yeah, it's... I mean, in the end, Siren is playing the long game. And I feel like it's a very smart choice by Siren as well to go for Lustig as a first pick, and to ban Reunion as well. Finally, somebody did. And apparently there's a UI bug, as Siren is saying it. Something in the chat or something.
Typical, of course.
So we might need to run it back.
Yeah, let's restart pick and ban.
It's all good as good, you know. It ain't the Trackmania without the quick fix. So we go again. So Siren gets to ban. I don't think it will change. Oh, surface switch this time around. Reunion does stay in. A little bit different this time. Unless he... Wait, why is it saying he can ban again? Huh? Am I the one going crazy here? SRK?
No, it's the UI basically.
Ah, okay.
It says ban, but it's actually picking. It's very weird, yeah.
Either way, it's fine. What ends well is well, and Burmer is picked first. Okay, so Siren goes from 5 head to 3 head, I guess, in my opinion. I really think the first pick Lustig is actually the play to go for. But maybe they want to do a bit of a warm-up, if anything. Lustig will be third, picked by Morioka as well. What a chat. The man is in absolute mud. What does he pick? I'll pick Lustig. Why not? And Reunion is the 4th map again. I don't know. I don't have the in-game chat, so we'll just have to wait and see how things go.
I'm double checking if it's correct.
Apparently he didn't click anything again. Siren is crying at the moment in Twitch chat. There you go. The classics.
I guess it did not work. Ay.
Well, hey, 3rd time's the charm. The first 2 times didn't work, so usually the 3rd time is the charm. You know. That's how
why are Lithuanians so clueless always? Something doesn't go their way. Yeah, we're gonna have to restart the match then. Restart the pick and ban then, and
yeah. I mean, you would assume that they would know how pick and ban works. They did play the regionals, but apparently Lithuanians forget everything in 5 seconds, apparently. So yeah. So as I understand, we will be restarting once more. I love how everybody just yoinks off.
yeah.
Well, for now, chat. While you're there, I'm keeping an eye on you as well. I have binoculars on you as well. How have you been enjoying BTL playoffs so far? And what is... I feel like everybody's favorite moment is that Arvito got through. This is not actually the match starting, as far as I understand. It's just paused at the moment. But what is your favorite moment? Or maybe what was the favorite match to watch so far? I will say it's been quite amazing so far. maybe some of you have some favorite moments. I mean, the lower brackets had some amazing moments in the lower semis and even in the lower final. But hard to know where things will go. Okay, again, so band reunion, picked Bomber. Okay, so that's how it goes.
Basically, Ziren is super clueless on how this stuff works. So, and
clearly Auris was the guy doing the picks and bans. For the
oh yeah, of course, typical. All right.
I mean, Lostic still picked by Morioka. The Giga Chat still remains himself, and Surface Switch by Arvito. Nothing really changes in their overall things, and thank God we don't have reunion. We've already had 2 heartbreaks on reunion in the lowers, so we avoid that in the grand finals. But we'll see how things will go. But given how things will run, I mean, 4 rounds each map, this could be an interesting rotation, I will say. And Morioka did pick Lostic, Yekosto. I know you're Yek, but I assume you still have eyes, by the way. It was actually picked by Morioka. You might need to get your eyes checked as well, Yekosto. Might be worth the check. Unless we are actually starting.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. You might be in a bit of trouble. I know you're deaf, but hopefully you're not going blind as well. Yes, Richard, Dvinho and Kuzi went out in a very miraculous final round in the lower finals between Arvito, Dvinho and Kuzi on reunion. And it came down to that final round where Kuzi went out early and Dvinho drifted a bit too wide, hit the corner and allowed Arvito to take it as well. So yeah. We'll have to wait and see. For now, at least everybody is having a bit of time to, maybe grab a quick drink. I like to have a drink even when I'm in a match.
All right, we'll have to go on a small break. There's a small technical issue, yeah, because someone did not notify that he had an issue on his end, so that's why.
Classic. Well, I guess we just restart the server and do.
Yeah, we'll go on a quick break and we'll restart it.
Okay, well, have fun. We'll be back.
And it's finally time. Everything has been finally set. Everything, no technical issues, no weird moments from Ziren or something like that. Little boy finally understood what to do.
Nobody had to ponder on their life mistakes. Chat has been pondering as well, like life's questions. In the meanwhile, you can let the voices go now. It's finally here, the grand final of the Baltic Trackmania League. Summer 2023 is upon us with Siren, Arvito, Morioka, and Auris, and we start on Böhmer, and we start off with a no slide for Siren to begin. It is his pick as well. So maybe not the best start on his own map.
Yeah, so the map that will be banned is gonna be Reunion. So that is the map that will be decided, that will not be appearing in the grand final. Reunion was the map that decided the last two players in the grand final, Morioka and Arvito in the lower bracket final. So it's time to see who will be the Baltic Trackmania League winner for this season. We had the last winner, Kuzi, was getting eliminated in lower bracket final. Will it be Morioka or will it be the upper bracket players, Auris and Zero, maybe the newcomer Arvito? At the moment, it's looking like Morioka will be the one having the best start, as the both upper bracket players have been having a mistake each. And Morioka and Arvito, the two lower bracket players, who both of them actually came from the lower bracket semi-final, as most of the upper bracket players, Dvinho and Kuzi, were eliminated the lowers. And the two players who get past lower bracket semi-final are here now at the grand final.
Yeah, that is the tale of this entire tournament so far. And Siren again having a bit of a shaky start. You know, maybe they had to dwell on their thoughts a bit too long as well. You know, sometimes these technical stuff or these pauses can throw some people off, while others just dwell in the confidence. As Morioka, that is not the line you want to take. He probably wasn't going to get the magnet anyway. So from first to last is a classic, with everybody else now trying to get the other positions, as the people who were last in the previous round are now first and second. So we might have an actual flip of the entire board to be quite equal, and we'll see how things will go. Siren and Auris fighting for that first. Second, Arvito is still in the wing, unless something really happens in the end. Does have more speed than Auris, but that is not going to be enough. So it is actually a flip of the board, quite literally. It is basically everybody on 13 or 12 points, and Siren takes the first position.
Yeah, Siren, despite having a very shaky start, still managed to be ahead in terms of points. This was the map he picked as well. He had been in general having a very solid performance on the fast point maps, having in terms of global even level, having a very dominant performance on them. At the moment, Morioka, the one with the small mistake, having a very solid first half, is off. And Siren is a bit off in the round. Arvito, the one who's always a bit in the middle, definitely wasn't expected the player to see in the grand finals, making the upset above of Dvinho and Kuzi in the lower bracket final. Morioka, Auris trying to fight for 10 points. Ziren crashes out. Arvito is only the one to challenge the top two, as Auris gets a bit of an airtime and a bit of a recorrection from Arvito's end as well. Morioka now has a bit more solid lead, as now Arvito tries to fight for the plus 7 points, gets way more momentum. Morioka secures the tenor, and Auris will get the second with the plus 7. And it looks like Arvito is gonna be always in the second or third positions, and the current points leader now only gets 3 points.
Yeah, that is a bit of a conglomeration of everybody else on 18, 17, 17. Morioka sits at 23, but it is going to be early times. We have plenty of maps to go after this. We have Erathel, then there's Lostic and Surface Switch to go, in that order as I named them as well. So it's not over until it's over, but Siren definitely not enjoying the pick at the moment. Always finds himself at the moment in 4th position. Does get a really nice exit from that position, almost jumping into 1st position, as currently Morioka sits in 4th. Auris taking a good lead. Arvito, as you said, always in the mix so far. Hasn't put a foot wrong. He's just not been able to get the pace right there. Just has missed out on a bit every single round, but really trying to push for it, as Auris and Morioka are the ones pushing for 1st and 2nd. Morioka does have more speed, I believe, or maybe not actually. Auris might be taking first position by 7,000ths of a second. Arvito is again third, and Siren is fourth. So again, close affairs on these rounds at the moment. Permer delivering as expected.
Yeah, maybe Arvito. I remember in the early days of BTL, I had the 4th place curse. Maybe Arvito is now setting himself up for 3rd place curse.
Oh, somebody has to. Somebody has to have some kind of curse at this point. Hopefully Arvito won't get the 4th place curse from you.
But yeah, anyway, in the total point standings, Morioka after map 1 is in the lead with 30 points. Auris in 2nd with 27. Arvito 3rd with 22. And the player who picked the first map is last, Ziren, with only 21. He's now going on the 2nd fast one map. Erathel, this was one of the Zirens, also one of the better maps, but seeing how of a shaky start he had early on, we'll see if he can redeem himself right here.
It's gonna be looking good. I mean, Siren in the Swiss mode had some incredible starts, but both Siren and Morioka get a bit of airtime and allowing Arvito to take a considerable lead, and that is quite a lead even to start off. Yet the sausage section really good, as everybody sets up for this part quite differently. Morioka goes for a bit of a swing, Auris and Arvito jump straight into it. There's plenty of ways to do it, but it doesn't really matter because Arvito is the one just holding everybody in front, goes a bit wide, just makes it. So everybody's just inching a bit more closer. Everybody's gonna go wider here, so they might exit with a lot more speed than Arvito. Auris does get a bit less there, but that is going to be a good end. And to the line, Morioka misses the finish, and so does Siren, but quicker on the respawn, does get it there. So Arvito takes the first round, Auris is 2nd, Siren is 3rd, and Morioka is 4th.
Yeah, the top 3 is now getting close, and the supposed favorite, the player who had the biggest advantage heading into the final, is currently the one last in terms of points, while the rest of the players are still very close by. We'll see if he can redeem himself this time around. These 2 maps were the ones where he was the favorite here. So we'll see if he can redeem himself here. Actually, Auris now the one who was one of the worser players between Ziren in the honorary duo. But we'll have to see if he can do. Looks like Auris is definitely being set up, having a step up as Ziren. Again, a very shaky performance. Ziren in the last season also was looking very, very strong, but also kind of tossed everything away in the grand final where he did place 4th place last time around. Morioka overtaking Auris now. Arvito also very close by. One small mistake and it's an overtake for Arvito, and it will not be the case. Very good time there from Morioka. A point 15 and points, even from Auris as well, a point 27. But it's going to be Morioka taking the 10-pointer and now overtaking Auris for the lead, as Arvito will continue on with his 3rd places, as Ziren is now starting to fall behind.
It is a bit of a start, but I do remember also in the grand final of the previous BTL, it's like Siren was looking quite strong, but as you said, it's like Siren maybe not enjoying the grand final pressure. He's been here many times now before, well, not many times, but he has been in a position like this before. Maybe doesn't really dwell on the pressure, as Morioka doesn't get the 3rd section quite well, really jumps into it and touches it on the outside, so it puts the both honorary members up in front at the moment, with Siren maybe catching a break for once and getting 1 round in his pocket. He really needs something going, because otherwise everybody's just gonna run away with it. Lostic will be the next map soon, so but that is a rough entry. Oh my god, how did Auris finish that? He literally touched the most lowest part of that finish ring you could possibly do, but that's a good round for Siren to bounce back on.
He's starting to reduce the gap as well between the rest of the players. He was around like 10 points behind the 3rd place, but now he's starting to reduce the gap, as it's now only down to 3, as Arvito keeps collecting 3rd places in this match. He had like one or two top 2 finishes. He's never been last, which at least hasn't given him the 3-pointers so far. Trying to work on the consistency, and still allows him to add up the points as well. So he's very, very close between the top 2 players, as we see 48, 46, and 42. We'll see if he can still challenge with terms of pace to get those big pointers, since there's a small point given advantage for the top 2 players in a round. Ziran trying to have a bit of a better performance now, trying to climb out from the 4th place in the standings. As he's ahead, a bit of a shaky entry from Arvito, gets overtaken by Auris, now starting to challenge for 3rd place. It looks like Ziran might be taking the 1st place with a .13, very good time there. Morioka in 2nd with a .22, .2. Auris in 3rd, and Arvito this time is in 4th.
Yeah, and with one map, we are basically almost close to ground zero, because everybody is now punched up again. There's only 8 points separating 1st and 4th position, but now Losty comes in, and this is where most likely, if everything is going according to what we've seen before, Morioka is probably going to go to the 4th place. I'm not even gonna be sugarcoating it. It has been a rough time for him, as everybody else has been looking considerably more consistent and faster than Morioka on this. But we'll see. You know, everything can happen.
To give a small insight, in seeding events that happened before the group stage, where this map only was played, Ziren was the best player out of these 4. Arvito was 2nd best on this map. Then it was Auris and Morioka. Auris and Morioka were very similar in terms of their performance on this map, but we'll have to see how it will work like in this match. In theory, Ziren and Arvito are the 2 better players between this 4-player duel, and we'll see how it works out. Currently, it does follow the pattern as mentioned, with Morioka being the one behind, having the biggest struggle so far, together with Auris. Arvito doesn't get the best exit, at least avoids a triangle bump. However, Auris does touch the outside. Ziren's trying to run away with the points, however, he's chased by Morioka. There's a very .3 gap, however, now there's a .6 gap forming between 2nd and 3rd, while Auris is really down the field, as we have only 10-second finish timeout. It takes 10 seconds from the winner to finish the round, which currently is still capable from Auris quite easily. Right now, Morioka still trying to challenge Ziren, however, the gap seems to be the same. Very similar lines that they take, so no major differences right there. And Ziren's gonna take the first 10-pointer on Lostic, while Morioka is having a small surprise, honestly, as this has been the map where he had the biggest amount of issues on. And Arvito will collect another 3rd place into this match. Very interesting would be to know the stats, like how many 3rd places has Arvito out of the rounds potentially has been 3rd.
Probably the majority so far, at least it seems like it. But it's so fun to see as well. I come back to this. Morioka in 1 round got more points than he did in lower bracket semis on Lostic. It still baffles me to this day, but you know, at least it's looking better for him. But for everybody else, you can see the confidence is there. Auris is the only one where it is absolutely also not in the good. Arvito does touch the checkpoint a bit, so not looking good. But Morioka feels a lot more confident in this section. But Siren also on a really good run at the moment. The top 2 are on really decent pace at the moment. Of course, Siren having a really good start, and Morioka just holding on to 2nd position. Auris is in the wing. Arvito, I mean, he would really need somebody to make a massive mistake to really catch up to at the moment, as Auris holds his 3rd position at the moment. Siren looking to get some decent points. It could be 2 out of 2 for him if he can get his end once again, but this can go really sour really quick. But so far looking good for everybody involved. Morioka is going for the attack, and he actually gets it right on the line. 30,000. This is the first time Morioka has been in the 1st position throughout this entire playoffs on Lostic. Incredible scenes.
Who would have thought that the map that Morioka... Actually, in theory, he did pick... Maybe these are some crazy mind games, or he's
not
that
just
good
pretending.
Yeah, and then in the final, it just pulls the trap card. It's like, maybe I'm actually kind of decent on this one. And causing a massive surprise right now. I see that I haven't seen a snipe like that on a map like this. And Morioka actually, out of 20 possible points so far on this map, is at 17. And with that, surprisingly, despite being the map where we thought that he might be just super struggling on, is now even starting to gain and be now jumping in the 1st position. As Auris completely flips over the border, is now down in the sides. Morioka also dropping the gear, allowing now Arvito to jump into 2nd place. Ziren trying to place it nice and easy, very consistent with his spacing so far on this map, despite a lot of players struggling. He's trying to keep it very nice and even every single time. So we'll see how it will go right here.
Yeah, Morioka does have a casual Morioka round now. It's kind of mudded, but Auris in a similar boat. So Siren will go and pick up those extra 10 points. Very casual. Arvito second, you know, get some points on the board. Morioka comes in third. Auris has taken Morioka's position on Lostic, being absolutely in the bad mindset on here. But you know, you get this map out of the way, and then it's better grounds for now. But everything involved, Siren now is actually in the lead of the competition by 1 point ahead of Morioka, where Auris and is just completely out of it. So we move on to the top 3.
Yeah, it's definitely not working out for Auris in this map, especially because instead of Morioka, it's actually Auris is the one who is this map is not working out. Well, Morioka actually has a very solid performance. Arvito, despite having this being one of his best maps, also not having the best performance in the early rounds. However, this round looks completely different. 3 players
I've never seen
completely
anybody so
side by side,
close.
so close. I haven't seen that. Same.
Yeah,
But
it's miraculous though, but Morioka is the one to take the lead.
yeah, Ziren with a small bump gives it opportunity for Arvitus for a small overtake. We'll see how this will go.
I'll see how things will go indeed. Morioka is holding the lead, but it can all crumble in the end. Arvito and Siren are fighting for that second position, but Morioka's line does look good enough. But I feel like Arvito is able to hold out. Can he get the finish? He actually does. A clean inside drift or clean slide on the inside there to secure some second position. The nice points from Siren. And Auris does not even finish, allowing Arvito to overtake him. So it's becoming a bit of a 2-horse race up at the front. Currently with Morioka and Siren, and Arvito and Auris being the ones to be in the denying position. But at least Lostic is over for Auris. He can take a bit of a breath of relief, I guess, from that now on.
Also, Auris not having been present in any Baltic tournaments in the grand finals since winter 2022. So he hasn't been in a Baltic grand final for more than 1.5 years. So
yeah. And then he comes to a nice map.
Yeah, and many people have considered him as the best, but he hasn't been actually in a grand final for more than 16 months. So we'll see how this will go this time. Maybe he can bounce back. Has been the only person in the grand final so far with a DNF, as the finish time has been reduced for the playoffs from 15 to 10. So the players are definitely way more punished if they have a really, really big mistake. We're going on surface switch, all players being very nice and even so far. Ziren having a very solid opener together with Morioka, while Auris and Arvito very close there on the side. Morioka gets the best exit on the side, but very, very close fight. All players having a very solid outside line. We have seen minor touches here from over-risking, getting as much momentum here. Arvito gets the most speed, overtakes even Morioka at the end. Auris is behind the field, gets even a big oversteer. It's a very close fight for the second place. Morioka overtakes him, and even Auris overtakes Arvito. And Auris finally gets a small comeback, but it's still only 5 points as Ziren secures another 10-pointer. As our leaders, Morioka and Ziren, are starting to separate themselves from the rest of the players with more than 20 points difference.
Yeah, it's indeed, it's becoming ever so clear who are the front runners, as one of the front runners is now in the back end. So not from the back end, it is the first position, but does not lend itself to many points. So it is opportunity for Arvito and Auris to deny points from Morioka and get some of their own, but Arvito gets a nose slide out of all the things there. Not something you see quite often, but it is a mistake that can happen if you are not careful into that turn. But it leaves Auris possibly to get around when he needs something to go right for him. But he needs to beat Morioka to the line. It is equal. He's setting himself up for a better line here. You gather more speed, but that's still quite wide. You can feel it's not that confident for Auris, as it's a bit of wibbly wobbly. and Morioka is the one to take the win. But 7 points for Auris, you take that. You know, it's an improvement. It's up and going upwards, and that is what they're looking at. Now Vito takes its casual third position as always.
Yeah, with that now Morioka starts to extend his lead over Ziren. Ziren didn't have the best round, only got 3 points, and now Auris and Arvito trying to fight a bit more for the third position. We're playing till 120 points and now playing out all 3 winners. So even when the finalist for the first person reaches finalist, then it's all on for them to close it out, or else other players will start to catch up. We'll have to see how it will go this time. Morioka with having the best advantage, overtaking even the both upper bracket players currently in terms of points amount. All 4 players are very close in this match so far. All 3 Baltic countries represented in the top 3, with Ziren, one of the upper seed, coming into this grand final a bit struggling. Small oversteers from the side. Will we see touches here? No, all players do not touch, and even top 3 gets even way more momentum as Auris and Morioka gets a bit of a small bump from the center. If that loses a bit momentum, Morioka starts to catch up over Arvito and does do it, and does get to 10 points, and Arvito at least secures the 7 to deny both Lithuanians from the big points. But Morioka now with this another 10-pointer starts to extend his lead even more.
Yeah, it seems that from the depths of despair there, as I said it in one of my matches, from the biggest depths of despair and darkness, you might see the biggest shine of light. And it seems that at the moment, when it is working for players, it is a good snowball effect. And Morioka is definitely in that driving seat, as I feel like Siren is definitely a momentum-based player. A lot of these players are. I feel like Arvito most of the time is the more consistent one. Of course, he's going up against some of the most toughest opposition imaginable, so he does have to push more than he's maybe comfortable with normally. But Auris, Siren and Morioka are definitely not an easy cookie to crack, as Morioka, well, is the first one to crack under the pressure, as everybody else is going towards the finish line. And from that last position for Siren, looking to be first for him now, looking good so far. Can he actually hold on until the very end? And indeed, they all can. So, you know, not the worst. You know, it was a bit of a reversal, so we go back to the same deficit as beforehand.
Yeah, but the opportunity for Morioka to potentially enter in finalists has been denied. Morioka now in the next map, which is, in the next round, which is going to be on the next map, is now, will need a top 3 finish to enter in finalists and potentially contend his first Baltic Trackmania League title. He has placed second place. Some interesting fact about Morioka: his worst placement in any Baltic tournament was 3rd place, and that was in Baltic Trackmania Championship 2020, which was still held in Trackmania Stadium, Trackmania 2 Stadium, which is more than 3 years ago. That has been his worst placement ever in Baltic tournaments. And we now going on a full map rotation right now.
Yeah, this is we go back to the rotation. I mean, he won the PTC, he got second in BTL behind Sander, but now he has a very glorious opponent as Siren again. First round on this map starts with a nose slide. It's just a carbon copy of the exact same thing that happened in the first case. So it's not looking good for him, but that is the worst possible outcome. He now needs to hope, but even it doesn't really matter, because no matter what happens, unless Morioka literally combusts in front of the stadium or disconnects or something, he will be securing finalist mode, and he's looking to do it in a very dominant fashion, as Arvito is trying to catch up, but nobody's really able to get close. Auris, Arvito are in the wings. It's not over yet. This end lends itself to quite a bit of risk, so if Morioka takes it a bit too safe, he can give it up as Auris has more speed. He's coming ever so closer. He's really risking it, and he actually overtakes. I told you it's not over until you get to the finish line, and Auris just full-blown sends it.
Yeah, the Agent 007 pulls out here. And but Morioka is still in the final, but Auris got very much needed big points. Arvito was super close, as none of these players have ever won the Baltic Trackmania League. One of them will be doing so, and at the moment, Morioka, the best opportunity right now. He is 1 round win away from potentially winning the Baltic Trackmania League for the very first time, and also denying the Lithuanians, who had such a strong upper bracket final and having a, I wouldn't really call it an upset because so many players have been expecting him to win it all before the event, and looks like both Lithuanians are in bit in shambles. Arvito as well, small mistake in the center, and it looks like Morioka is on the best setup right now to take the win for Estonia. That hasn't been done since the winter season of 2022, and it all comes down to the end. Will he get the end? And it will be Morioka taking the title for the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023 season, pulling the upset over the both upper bracket honorary players Auris and Ziren, and will be securing first place and the first time winning Baltic Trackmania League in this for himself, and taking the first win for Estonia in this year.
Yeah, that is how it goes, as Auris has a nose slide at the start. I mean, you know, you only need one man at the top. Estonia putting all of its eggs in one basket, and it does deliver. Morioka is undoubtedly the best player in the Baltic region, but it's not over until it's over. We still have quite a bit of match to go, and given how Siren maybe hasn't felt the most confident, well, currently in this round, he's looking to get a first position. I feel like it's still quite possible for Arvito and Auris to still take something out of this, because it is a map pick for him, for Siren, but looking good at the moment at least. I mean, he has 4 tenths. It would have to be an absolute throw in the end. There's no reason to risk. He still risks it, but somehow still triggers the finish check, but I don't know how he managed to do that. That looked like an absolute full-blown crash to me.
Yeah, but with that, he does enter finalist, since we're going to be playing out through all 3 winners. Arvito needs to build up a small advantage over Auris as well. Maybe he can even deny Siren for that second place. We'll still seek to do so. Siren on his first opportunity to close out finalist. This was his map pick at the start of the match, and he did ban Reunion. That's why we did not see that map in the grand final compared to the rest of the matches. Right now, very close round, very risky line there from Siren. Almost closed it, almost clicked the inside there, but really tries to be efficient with his lines, but so are the rest of the players. As all 3 players are super close between each other. You have no idea how it can go at the very end. Auris, though, having a minor advantage so far, gets the most momentum as well out of it. Well, gets the widest line. It all comes down to the last setup. Arvito very close. Siren has the most speed. Will he be the one to deny? And he will! And he actually will, despite being behind the majority of the round. Snags in front just ahead of his teammate and Arvito, and snags the second place. And now it's time for the 1v1 for the third place.
Yeah, but it does mean that we do switch the maps, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel more comfortable with Arvito on this than Auris, if I have to give my honest opinion. Especially since that Auris hasn't really felt you know, the most comfortable in the few recent maps. But this was technically the map that Auris picked to begin with. So if there's any map that could lend him a win over Arvito, it could be this. But it's hard to say. It's just gonna come down to whoever just feels the best in the moment.
So for this to happen, Arvito needs to at least secure a top 2 well, he basically needs to finish in this round, and then he will enter finalists. However, it's very important for him to take the win in this round, to have a way better mental advantage coming in to the last finalist round. At the same time, it's very important now for Auris to get the round wins going, to secure him on a superior mental state above Arvito in this 1v1, because this can decide on who will be third and who will be last. Will it be a reputation for Latvia and for Auris as well, as his highest placement ever in Baltic Trackmania leagues has been 3rd place. So either he will mimic it or he will initiate a 4th place curse. So it looks like in this round, a bit of a unfortunate mistake from Auris, but it's not too big of a deal. However, this will start to give us a bit of a confidence boost now for Auris, as now Arvito enters finalist, while Auris is still a couple of points away from entering finalist himself.
Yeah, it's basically all or nothing for Auris. As we said, he has to win every single round. Now this one and the preceding one as well. So we will be having minimum 2 rounds. Whether Arvito gets to close it out now or Auris or Arvito after that. So it's all up to Arvito to secure this finalist mode and Auris to just survive and just send it. I feel like if you're in this position, Auris I feel like is the best player to have. He has the pace and he does have experience, so the man can fully send it, and usually it's where the elite do thrive the most, is when they are put against the wall, and Auris currently looking to do so. Arvito is trying to close the gap, but every corner does not really lend itself to that much speed. Apart from this one, this could go down to the absolute wire. Arvito does exit with more speed. Auris, clips the checkpoint, is completely out of it, and gives the position away to Arvito, who now reclaims his third place curse. And as he is third place to finish off, what a way to get on the podium. Auris clips the checkpoint and is unable to drift there in the end. What a way to end that grand final.
Yeah, Auris pulling a small simply quit there at the end. But
yeah, that's a rough one. It's basically a death sentence. If you clip that checkpoint, you are so mudded there. It's just really hard to initiate a drift there. So there was nothing he could do there. It was just unfortunate for him.
Alright, and with that, we are done with the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023. Hope you all enjoyed these matches. Also, hope everyone who took part in the placement event, amateur tournament, and elite as well enjoyed your time and experience gained from this tournament. So the final placings from the Baltic Trackmania League Summer 2023 season are: 16th place will be Psyniac, 15th Lama Lapas, 14th Hapux, 13th Bits, 12th Marcelli, 11th Insider, 10th Crazy Cat, 9th Greedy. And now we're going to the playoffs that were the top 8. Iava 8th, Karluki 7th, Dvinho 6th, Kuzi 5th, and all of these 4 players will also have a small monetary bonus with 20 euros. 4th place will be Auris from Hungary and Lithuania, having his highest placement in this year. 3rd place, Arvito, with a small bonus of 50 euro as well, having his highest performance in this year in altogether in his Trackmania career, as his previous record was 7th to 8th place in the previous Baltic League. 2nd place, we have Ziren setting his best performance as well ever in 2nd place, and Morioka, the winner of Baltic Trackmania League, and a small bonus of 100 euro from Vortex, is the 2nd winner from Estonia to take his title, and Morioka's first win in Baltic Trackmania League. And with that, we'll have Morioka, Ziren, Arvito, and Auris, who will be seeing also in the Comic-Con Baltic Trackmania tournament in October as well. While the rest will be have to go through open qualifiers that'll be taking place a bit later.
Yeah, it's been a good time. Like, the entire tournament has been great. I would have loved to be in that grand finals as well, but I feel like I deserve to be 9th. It is a despair position, but you know, it is what it is. All out, everybody in the chat, everybody who was involved, good stuff as well. All up and all better as well, and I'm looking forward to the next year as well. And to Comic-Con as well. Soon, keeping on your radar as well. I'm sure there will be updates and stuff with that as well to come, so I'm sure keep yourself posted with that. But unless you have something to say, I'll leave it off to you to end it.
Alright. If you are from Baltics, make sure to check out the Baltic Trackmania Discord, where we do a bunch of other stuff, and there's a lot of banter between all 3 countries and players, and also to stay tuned for other future events for the region. And yeah, looking forward to now to the Comic-Con Baltics. That's going to be the next notable events. Most likely there was not going to be Baltic Trackmania League yet for this year. However, there's going to be the Baltic Trackmania Championship at the end of the year, which is going to be a pretty cool spectacle as well. Anyway, that's going to be it from us. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed your time and stay around these tournaments. We'd love to see some new faces as well in future Baltic tournaments. That'll be it from me, also from Creedy. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully see you all later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.